Nestled between rolling hills and vast savannas lay a small village where life moved at a gentle pace. It was here that Kahumba and Rihupisa built their home, a modest house surrounded by acacia trees and the laughter of their children. Kahumba, a tall man with a kind heart, worked as a farmer, toiling the land from dawn till dusk. Rihupisa, his beloved wife, was the heartbeat of the family, her presence a comforting constant in their lives. Their children, each with their own unique spirit, brought joy and challenges in equal measure. Nangula, the eldest, had a nurturing soul and often helped her mother with household chores. Haikala, the second-born, was curious and always eager to learn, while Natangwe, the third, possessed a quiet strength that belied his years. Ndapandula, the youngest, was a bundle of energy and mischief, her laughter echoing through the village. Life was not, but the family faced them together, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. They shared stories around the fire at night, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames, and celebrated the small victories that came their way. It was a simple yet fulfilling existence, rooted in love and mutual respect. Tragedy struck one fateful evening when Rihupisa fell gravely ill. Despite Kahumba's best efforts and the village healer's remedies, she passed away, leaving a void that seemed impossible to fill. Ndapandula, only 4 years old, couldn't comprehend the loss, her young mind struggling to grasp why her mother was no longer there to hold her. The family was plunged into mourning, their hearts heavy with grief. Kahumba, devastated by the loss of his wife, knew he had to stay strong for his children. He took on the role of both mother and father, ensuring that their needs were met, even as he grappled with his own sorrow. The village rallied around them, offering support and comfort, but the pain of Rihupisa's absence lingered, a constant reminder of their loss. Kahumba's life became a delicate balancing act, his days filled with endless tasks and responsibilities. He would wake before the sun, tending to the fields and caring for the livestock. In the evenings, he helped the children with their studies, his patience unwavering as he guided them through their lessons. He cooked their meals, mended their clothes, and ensured that they felt loved and secure despite the absence of their mother. His sacrifices did not go unnoticed. The children, though young, understood the magnitude of what their father was doing for them. They tried to ease his burden their years. Nangula, in particular, stepped into a maternal role, her care and attention a reflection of her mother's influence. Despite the challenges, there were moments of joy and laughter. The family found solace in each other's company, their love a beacon of light in the darkness. Kahumba's dedication and resilience became the foundation upon which the children built their lives. His unwavering support, a proof to the strength of their bond. Years passed, and the children grew into adults, each carving their own path in life. Though their lives diverged, the siblings remained close, visiting Kahumba frequently and supporting one another through the trials and tribulations of life. They shared their joys and sorrows, their triumphs and setbacks, their bond unbreakable despite the distances that separated them. As the years went by, the family's initial happiness began to wane. Nangula and Kume struggled with infertility, each failed attempt to conceive bringing them deeper into despair. Haikela and Ndakolo faced their own challenges. Despite their hard work, they could barely make ends meet. Natangwe and Aina faced financial difficulties, with their farm yields declining each year. Ndapandula and Ilia, though full of hope and ambition, found themselves grappling with unforeseen obstacles that stifled their progress. The siblings, once full of dreams and aspirations, now found themselves caught in a relentless cycle of hardship. Their visits to Kahumba became less frequent as they each became consumed by their own struggles. The family, once a pillar of strength and unity, began to fracture under the weight of their collective misfortunes. Desperation led Nangula to seek answers from a traditional healer. She journeyed to a distant village, her heart heavy with the burden of her family's suffering. The healer, an elderly woman with a reputation for her mystical insights, listened to Nangula's tale of woe. After a long silence, she declared that their father, Kahumba, was the source of their misfortunes, branding him a witch who had cursed his own family. Nangula was shocked and devastated by the revelation, but her desperation led her to believe the healer's words. She returned home, her mind reeling with the implications of what she had been told. She knew she had to share this with her siblings, no matter how painful the truth might be. Nangula called a family meeting, her voice trembling as she recounted the healer's words. Haikela, Natangwe, and Ndapandula listened in stunned silence, their minds struggling to reconcile the loving father they knew with the image of a witch who had cursed them. The idea seemed absurd, yet their desperation and the healer's reputation lent weight to the accusation. The siblings debated the truth of the healer's claim, their emotions running high. Gathering their courage, they confronted Kahumba. Their words were filled with anger and pain as they demanded that he lift the curse he had supposedly placed on them. Kahumba was devastated. How could his own children believe he would want their downfall after all he had sacrificed for them? The confrontation left Kahumba feeling a deep pain he had never known. His heart shattered, and he wished for death, unable to understand how his own flesh and blood could accuse him of such treachery. He cried like he had never cried before, his sobs echoing through the empty house. In the end, their desperation overshadowed their reason. They decided to cut off contact with Kahumba, believing that distancing themselves from him was the only way to lift the curse. They stopped visiting him, ceased sending money, and left him to fend for himself in the village. Kahumba, now alone and bewildered by his children's sudden abandonment, grew increasingly ill. His heart broke as he wondered what he had done to deserve such treatment. Every morning he would stand outside his house, looking up at the sky with tears in his eyes, praying for mercy and understanding. His health deteriorated rapidly, the weight of loneliness and despair taking its toll. The once vibrant and strong man became a shadow of his former self, his days filled with sorrow and confusion. The villagers, sympathetic but powerless to help, could only watch as Kahumba withered away, his spirit broken by the abandonment of his beloved children. Months turned into years, and the siblings' lives did not improve despite their estrangement from their father. The siblings' desperation deepened, leading them to consider more drastic measures. They believed that killing Kahumba was the only way to break the curse and free themselves from their suffering. They devised a plan to set him on fire and burn down the house, hoping that his death would release them from the alleged curse. Their hearts were heavy with the weight of their decision, but their desperation blinded them to the horror of their actions. One early morning, they went to Kahumba's house, carrying cans of fuel and matches. The house, once a symbol of love and sacrifice, now stood as a target of their misguided anger. They moved stealthily, ensuring not to wake the neighbors. Their faces were set with a grim determination, though shadows of doubt flickered in their eyes. Kahumba, unaware of the plot against him, was asleep inside. The siblings surrounded the house, dousing it with fuel. They paused for a moment, their hands trembling, but the thought of their continued suffering pushed them forward. They struck the match and set the house ablaze, locking the door from the outside to ensure Kahumba could not escape. As the flames engulfed the house, Kahumba woke to the searing heat and the acrid smell of smoke. He tried to escape, but the locked door trapped him inside. His cries for help were muffled by the roar of the fire. The siblings watched in horror as the house burned, the realization of their actions dawning too late. Kahumba was burnt alive, his anguished cries echoing in their ears long after the flames had died down. A few months later, the siblings received an urgent message from the village. An elderly woman, Naftali, was seriously ill and on her deathbed. She requested to see them before she died. Intrigued and somewhat hesitant, they decided to visit her, hoping for some closure to their ongoing suffering. Upon arriving, they found Naftali lying on a mat outside her modest home. Her frail body was a testament to her age, but her eyes still held a spark of life. She beckoned them closer, her voice weak but clear. With her final breaths, she revealed a dark secret that had haunted her for years. Naftali confessed to having cursed their family out of revenge because Kahumba had abandoned her in their youth. She narrated their past, how they had been deeply in love and shared dreams of a future together. They grew up in the same village, spending countless days by the river, making plans and promising each other a lifetime of happiness. In their late teens, their love blossomed into a deep and passionate relationship. They were inseparable, and the villagers often spoke of their bond with admiration. Kahumba, a charismatic and hard-working young man, was the envy of many, while Naftali, with her beauty and intelligence, captivated everyone she met. As their relationship grew, so did their dreams. They talked of building a home together, raising a family, and growing old side by side. However, life had other plans. When Naftali became pregnant, Kahumba, fearing they were not yet ready to settle down, convinced her to terminate the pregnancy. He promised that they would have a family when the time was right. Naftali, though heartbroken, trusted Kahumba and agreed. This happened not once, but multiple times, each instance leaving a deeper scar on her heart. As the years passed, Naftali rejected other suitors, holding on to the hope that Kahumba would eventually fulfill his promises. However, fate took a cruel turn when Naftali discovered that Kahumba was marrying another woman, Rihupisa. She was devastated. She felt betrayed and abandoned, her dreams shattered. In a fit of despair, Naftali attempted to take her own life, but was saved by a kind neighbor. Naftali was 40 years old then, unmarried and struggling to trust anyone again. The pain of betrayal transformed into a burning desire for revenge. She vowed to make Kahumba and his family suffer for the pain he had caused her. Naftali befriended Rihupisa, gaining her trust and using their friendship to carry out her plans. She learned the secrets of traditional medicine and curses and used her knowledge to execute her revenge. Naftali admitted to killing Rihupisa, cursing the wombs of Kahumba's daughters and halting the progress of his sons. She believed that seeing Kahumba suffer would bring her satisfaction, but it only deepened her own misery. She revealed that she was the one who had told Nangula to seek help from a traditionalist with whom she had connived. When she heard that the siblings had burnt their father, she felt a deep sorrow for all she had done. Bitterness had clouded her sense of reasoning, and now, as she lay dying, she sought forgiveness, hoping to make peace with her actions before joining her ancestors. As she finished her confession, she passed away, leaving the siblings in shock and disbelief. The siblings wept bitterly, realizing the magnitude of their mistake. They had killed their innocent father based on a lie. Their hearts were heavy with regret and sorrow. The weight of their actions bore down on them, and they knew they would never be able to fully atone for what they had done. With Naphtali's death, the family's misfortunes began to lift. Nangula and Haikala found themselves pregnant, their joy tempered by the guilt of their actions. Natangwe and Ndapandula experienced a turn of fortune in their respective endeavors, their businesses flourishing for the first time in years. Overcome with regret and remorse for their harsh accusations and abandonment, the siblings returned to the site of their father's burnt house. They raised a statue in his honor and gave him a proper burial rites, their tears mingling with the ashes of their past mistakes. They begged for his forgiveness, acknowledging the pain they had caused and the grave injustice they had done to him. Their beloved father was no more, and the knowledge of their betrayal haunted them. The monument stood as a solemn reminder of the love and sacrifice Kahumba had shown them, a tribute to a father who had given everything for his children, only to be repaid with mistrust and cruelty.